So hello everyone, my name is Alan from Al's Basketball Training, and today I'm going to give you some basic beginner basketball offensive plays that you can run either with a beginner team or if you have a starting team that is very young. Now on this channel I show you basketball plays, drills, and skills, so if you like that stuff, hit that like button and subscribe, and let's get down to the clipboard and let's check out these basketball plays. Okay, so the first play is going to be a 3-out, 2-in. Every single one of these plays are going to be up against a man-to-man defense because, generally speaking, if you're playing or with a beginner team, you're going to be playing against a beginner team, which means that it's going to be probably a man-to-man defense. So we're going to start with a sandwich screen up top, which is going to be player 3 and player 2 setting a screen for player 1. Meanwhile, player 4 and 5 are going to be popping out towards the 3-point line. And player 1 has a decision. He can either go left or right. If he goes left, what's going to happen is player 3 will be popping. And if player 2 switches off, which does happen with a lot of younger or beginner teams, and player 2 blue will then cut towards the rim. He'll roll off the screen. He'll seal his man. And he could be wide open for that layup. Of course, if the defense knows how to play help defense, or if they're just smart, they can come down and cut him off, which means that he has to pass it out to players 4 or 5 for hopefully an open mid-range or 3-point shot. Now, another 3-out, 2-in basic basketball play that you can run is having player 3 and player 5 either setting up a wall screen, which means they're right next to each other, or they could be staggered a bit. And what's going to happen now is player 4 will pop out, and we'll have player 1 using player 3 and player 5 as a screen. Now what can happen here is player 3, he can then pop out towards the 3-point line. Player 1 could also be open from the 3-point or mid-range area. If player 5 was to pop out, which is a total possibility, player 5 blue could be wide open in the low post, cutting or rolling off that screen so that he could get that open easy layup. Now I hope that we have all seen box offenses before. We used to call this Victoria in elementary school, mainly because we named all of our plays after a province in Canada. I'm from Canada if you don't already know. Now what we're going to have is player 5 and player 4. They're going to be screening down for the guards in the forward, and they're going to be popping out towards the 3-point line. Now they could take that mid-range or 3-point shot. Let's say player 2 was open and player 4 switched off. Now what's going to happen if the pass goes to this side? One of two things can happen. Player 5 can clear out, and player 4 could get the ball down low because now there's a mismatch, tall guy on short guy. Or if they want to have even a better mismatch, let's say we pass to this side, and this wasn't a switch off, but he was just open to pass to that side, and player 5 could now screen over to this side, or we could have player 5 totally clear out and have player 2 wide open in that low post. So there's a couple of different options here with this play. Now this next play I'm going to show you is called the Go Green play. I don't know why we called it Go Green in grade 8, but we just did. This was one of our plays that we ran in grade 8. Again, box offense, very simple. And what we would do is have player 3 and player 2, they would pop up and set a screen on player 1. This is called a sandwich screen. And we would have player 4 and player 5 pop out towards the 3-point line. Now player 1 and 1 could choose player 2 or 3 to use as a screen. Let's say he chose player 2. Player 2 is now going to roll towards the basket. What you're hoping for is either player 1 to have an open shot. Of course, we had a couple of really good shooters. And we also had a really good couple of guards who we could pass into and get that layup. And then teams would start being smart, or coaches would start calling timeouts and explaining to their team what help defense is. And myself, I was a 5. I was 6'2". In grade 8, I was massive. I'm still 6'2". I'm not as massive. And I would cut towards the rim when this happened, and they would pass me the ball, and I would get the layup. So, kind of a nice little feature, a nice little option. Another thing that we used to do as well is if it was, we had a pretty tall team. We had a guy called Kyle, and he was about 6 feet tall. And he would sometimes play point. We had a guy called Mickey who would also play point as well. He was a bit shorter, but we would sometimes have an all 6-foot lineup, which was massive. If I have a picture, I will show it now. But anyways, player 1 would roll off using that screen, and he would drive right towards the rim. which would then sometimes collapse the defense, but he would still be able to get that shot off. Or we would have a weak side coming in like a Tim Knight. I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name on these videos, but Tim anyways, would get that ball and go in for the layup. He was also able to touch rim as well in grade 8. So yeah, we had a massive team. We won a championship. Now another play that we used to run was this one. I can't remember what we used to call this. I think it was called Regina or BC or something. I don't know. It was something. Anyways, we would set a screen across, and we would have player 3 popping out towards the 3-point line, and we would have player 2. Actually, I made that backwards. My bad. We would have player 2. He would be screening across. Player 4 would be screening across. And player 5 would go to the low post. Player 3 would pop out to the elbow or the free throw line extended. The idea behind this is we would have player 2 switching off, because at the elementary level, that's what's going to happen majority of the time. Those 2 players would then pop off. And what we would now have is a player 5, most likely with a mismatch, where we would get player 3 the ball, pass the ball into player 5, and he would do his magic onto the rim. I averaged 14 points per game. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you guys again later on in our second video of the day.